8 months. Every single morning, I made the same breakfast, stood in my kitchen feeling like a responsible adult, and walked away thinking, good. That is done. I am taking care of myself. And the entire time, I was making my muscle loss worse. Not because I was eating badly, not because I was lazy or careless, because of one specific thing that changes after 60 that almost nobody tells you about, and that turns even a perfectly reasonable breakfast into something your muscles simply cannot use. I am going to show you exactly what was happening, and I am going to tell you what I eat now instead. But first I need to explain something, because once you understand this, you will never look at your breakfast the same way again. My name is Rose. I am 72 years old, and I have been doing this long enough to know that the most dangerous health mistakes are not the obvious ones. They are the ones that look completely fine from the outside, the ones you are proud of. That is exactly what this was. So, here is the thing nobody told me. After 60, your muscles develop something called anabolic resistance. I know that sounds like a term from a medical textbook, so let me explain it the way I wish someone had explained it to me. When you were younger, your muscles were like a door with a well-oiled hinge. A light push and it opened. You ate a reasonable amount of protein, your body sent the signal rebuild, repair, maintain, and your muscles responded. Efficiently, reliably, without you having to think about it. After 60, that hinge gets stiff. The door does not open as easily. Your muscles become significantly less responsive to the same signal. And the key, the specific thing that actually pushes that door open, is an amino acid called leucine, not protein in general. Leucine specifically. Think of it as the ignition key for muscle repair. Without enough leucine at one meal, your muscles do not start the rebuilding process at all. The engine just sits there. And here is the number that stopped me when I first read it. Older adults need roughly 2 to 3 times more leucine per meal than younger people just to trigger the same response. 2 to 3 times more. Every single meal. Now, are you ready to hear what is actually in a bowl of oatmeal? 3 grams of protein, total. And of that, the leucine content is almost nothing. I was eating a breakfast that felt warm and wholesome and genuinely good, the kind of breakfast you picture when you imagine someone taking care of themselves. And my muscles were sitting there waiting for an ignition signal that never came. Every morning, for 8 months. Actually, pause here for a second. I want to ask you something. Think about what you ate for breakfast this morning. Do you actually know how many grams of protein were in it? Not a guess. The real number. Leave it in the comments below. I am genuinely curious, and I think a lot of people watching this are going to be surprised by what they find when they actually check. Now, I want to tell you how I found out, because I think the way it happened matters. It was a Sunday. My son came to visit. He stood in my kitchen and watched me make my breakfast, and he said, "Mom, where's the protein in that?" And I turned around and said, "Well, there is protein in oats." He did not argue. He just picked up his phone, looked something up, and held the screen toward me without saying a word. I looked at the number. I put the phone down. I did not say anything for a full minute. If you know me at all, you know that is unusual. 3 grams. I needed somewhere between 25 and 30 grams of protein at breakfast just to meet the threshold my muscles actually required. I was getting 3. That is not a small gap. That is not something you can make up for later in the day. That is 8 months of missed signals, one morning at a time. And here's the thing I keep coming back to. I was paying attention. I was making choices. I was doing what felt right. And that is exactly what makes this kind of mistake so easy to miss. It does not feel like a mistake. It feels like a good habit. Now I want to tell you something that changed how I think about the whole day, not just breakfast. While you sleep, your body does not simply rest. It is still burning through resources. By the time you wake up, your muscles are already in a deficit from the overnight fast. Which means your first meal is not just breakfast. It is the single most important muscle signal of your entire day, the moment your body is most primed to either begin rebuilding or continue breaking down. I was sending mine nothing. But here is what surprised me even more, and I genuinely did not see this coming when I first started looking into all of this. There is a second reason why muscles stop responding the way they should after 60, and it has nothing to do with what you eat. It has to do with something your body needs in order to actually use the protein you give it. Something so basic that most people never think to check it. Vitamin D. I know. You have heard about vitamin D. Sunshine, vitamin, bone health, all of that. But here is what I did not know. Vitamin D is not just about bones. Your muscles have vitamin D receptors throughout them, specific sites that must be activated before your muscles can properly absorb and process protein. Without enough vitamin D, it does not matter how carefully you build your breakfast. The door I was talking about earlier, the leucine key, opens it, but vitamin D is what keeps the hinges from rusting shut entirely. A significant number of adults over 60 are quietly deficient without ever knowing it. I was one of them. My doctor found it at a routine blood test. Ask your doctor to check your levels at your next visit. Simple blood test, and if your levels are low, addressing that is one of the most direct things you can do for your muscle health after 60. So, what did I actually change at breakfast? Because that is what you came here for, and I am not going to make you wait any longer. The first thing I added was eggs. 2 eggs. Around 12 grams of high-quality protein and a meaningful amount of leucine. Not enough on its own, but a real foundation. Eggs are among the most bioavailable protein sources that exist, and as we age, our digestive efficiency also changes. So bioavailability matters more than most people realize. The second thing was Greek yogurt. Plain, full-fat, 1 cup. Between 15 and 18 grams of protein depending on the brand. Combined with 2 eggs, I was suddenly in the range my muscles actually needed. That became my morning anchor, every single morning before anything else. And the oatmeal, I did not throw it away. I just stopped letting it be everything. I moved it to after the protein, a smaller portion at the end. The fiber, the slow energy, the warmth of it, those things are genuinely useful. They were never the problem. The problem was that I had let them crowd out the one thing my muscles were waiting for. One more thing about timing. Research on older adults specifically has found that spreading protein across multiple meals is dramatically more effective than concentrating it all at dinner. Your muscles can only process so much at once. If most of your protein arrives at the evening meal, which is honestly what most people do, myself included, for years you have left the 2 most important windows of the day almost empty. Breakfast and lunch. That is where the rebuilding either happens or it does not. I started treating every meal as a simple question. Is there enough protein here to actually do something? That one shift changed everything. Within 3 weeks, I noticed things. Small things, but consistent. Getting up from the sofa took less effort. The stairs at my daughter's house felt different. I want to be careful here because I do not believe in dramatic claims, but what I felt was real, and it has continued. Here is what I want to leave you with today. Muscle loss after 60 is not simply what happens with age and nothing can be done. The research does not support that. What you eat tomorrow morning matters more than most people realize, and it is not complicated. 2 eggs, a cup of Greek yogurt, a vitamin D level checked at your next doctor's visit. That is genuinely where I started. Leave me a comment and tell me what your breakfast looks like right now. I read every single one, and sometimes what you share down there teaches me more than any article I have read. Subscribe if this helped you. I post every 2 days practical things I have actually tried and actually looked into. Nothing invented, nothing exaggerated. And if you are still waking up 3 times a night and running on empty, I have a video specifically about that on my channel. Poor sleep accelerates muscle loss faster than almost anything else. The 2 topics connect directly, and that video is worth watching alongside this one. In 2 days, I am going to share the 5 foods I added to my other meals that made everything I talked about today work even better, including one that costs almost nothing and that most people walk right past in the grocery store. That one is going to surprise you. I will see you then. I am Rose. Go take good care of yourselves. You have earned it.